Okay, playing Dampfross, still in the building phase here, moving into it, deeper into it. Green rolled only enough that they could, I think they rolled a 5, but they could only spend 3 of that to get into the mountains. They can't come out of the mountains, and they don't want to branch anywhere else quite yet. See some of the others, blue hooking up Albany finally, and then striking down to try to get to Richmond. They grabbed Washington, grabbed Richmond as well. I think they spend. I don't remember. Anyway, yellow continuing their move across to Chicago, probably Peoria as well. Black. Well, Black made it to Wilmington, but they just have this tiny little track. That's all they've got. They've got some money lined up that they can try to hit other things, but they're not going to get very far with that. Over to Red. Well, Red's stretching out to Nashville, and we're beginning to see some people look like they're winning the game right here in the track laying segment, and that's actually something I remember from the game. It's not really a matter of luck, but you need a certain familiarity with the map and judgment to be able to avoid getting trapped in the way that poor Green did. Now, was Green's choice that terrible? No. How about Black's? Well, Black's was clustered in there. Green made what they thought was the best first choice of all. And they're not doing too badly, but Black got cut off just by a bad die roll. Green could have been equally cut off. It's just a matter of the competition there. And it's not like Green could have done anything different except maybe surrender that best area and say, only a couple of people are going to come out of that alive. And noted, how could you note that Red was going to get this, which is really powerful? Leaving Brown with choices, none of which were as good as what Red might get out of it. If Brown came down here and built in this area, Red would have been pretty screwed, but Yellow would have had an opening. Lots and lots of tricky choices here where it's not clear who's going to get the advantage. Now, of course, by coordinating and working together on the races, it may be that people can make up for the fact that people have gotten kind of advantages in terms of the initial starting position. But my experience has been that starting position is too important. We'll keep going another time around. And we pretty much see a continuation of what's going on. Brown got a good roll, though, and is able to put themselves into striking distance of Peoria. If Yellow gets a bad roll, Brown will get it. Otherwise, they'll settle for St. Louis. Hey, that's fine. Unless they get tremendous numbers of bad rolls. Green's getting closer and closer to Knoxville. Red only made it into Nashville. Now comes kind of the iffy thing, because they can go to Memphis, but they got this worry of Black coming down and cutting down towards Savannah and the deep south in Florida. All kind of tricky. Some choices they have, but they're choices that you don't mind having as Red. If you lose some of that, hey, you still got lots. But that's where all the riches are right now. That's where all the all the cities that are unclaimed are sitting are behind Red, which has got to be a great feeling. Well, once more around, Green manages to hook up Knoxville. Where do they go from here? Everything's pretty crowded. They might try to shoot down into, just to get themselves into this area so they can play in the races. Blue, likewise, hasn't even connected Buffalo up yet. But where do you go after that? Do you pay, shoot down, and maybe head down to Pittsburgh or something? I don't know. Hard calls. You're going to want to hook more up for the races, maybe, but not at a premium, probably. So it's going to be tough. Let's see who's next. Of course, you pay $1 per track hex for running on someone else. So even without the $10 thing, at $1 a track hex, it's worth building to cities, right? Because then you don't have to pay for them, as long as your race conditions aren't too bad. Going for Yellow, well, he made Peoria and is shooting down for St. Louis. Really unlikely he can make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 before he gets 4. But it's possible that Brown just can't cross the Mississippi. So, you could get really unlucky and not make it at all. So, Yellow does have a shot still because of that. Black made a shot down to try to get to Jacksonville. He had just enough money to get there, but red ends up connecting it instead, leaving this more open. Red still thinks they can get that, but it's possible whoever gets to St. Louis can shoot down and grab it first, depending on how the races go elsewhere in terms of track lays. Okay, where are we after the red? Brown. Yeah, we've already talked about brown. Let's go on. Other picks, well, let's see. Green shooting down for Birmingham. Blue paid yellow a couple of bucks to run out of there, and they're heading down towards Pittsburgh. They want to make this crossing and get kind of an advantage. They've got a dual route coming down. They can use yellow or they can use brown if they choose this. They like that combination. That way they can make alignments more easily than if you have to combine too many people at once. Yellow, they made a hex, but then so did brown. That's all they went as well. Black hooked up Atlanta. That's probably the end of the line for them. They only have $6 left. That means that they can still play, but they're, if they spend that to do what? To get maybe to Birmingham 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It might be worth it, but it doesn't give them any big jump, any big advantage, and they want to have enough money to be able to buy a little bit of a run if they can get it in terms of for the races. Over to red. Red's shooting over to Memphis, and it looks like they're going to grab all the stuff. They're going to be able to get everything down here, or else it won't be able to be hooked up until after some races. And then we go over to brown. We already talked about them. They only went one. All right, more building. Swinging around here. Green's still making their slow trek down. Blue made it to Pittsburgh. They only have $1 left though, which means they basically can't do anything except race their own lines. Their own lines are pretty good, actually, zooming around through the Northeast. But if they're not in the Northeast, they're going to have to either pair up or just pass on any races. Yellow didn't quite make it to St. Louis. They only made it next to it. They didn't roll high enough to get in. And brown ended up not only getting in, but pushing through, which means they're going to be the ones breaking down in this direction. The cost to hit St. Louis and come out is fairly high. It doesn't seem really worth it. Yellow's got a ton of money though at $23, so they got to decide what they want to do with their cash. They may want to shoot down maybe in this direction and try to hook up something here like Cincinnati and down to Nashville, maybe get the cheap route in that direction. Or maybe they can see a line east, make it more than just blue who has this northeastern route here. That'll be through the mountains though, kind of an expensive build. Alright, red is almost at Memphis. Once they get Memphis, they should probably concentrate on these, which they can be sure to score. They're not sure they can hit both of these. They don't have a lot of money left at $14. Maybe yellow can actually grab down to New Orleans or Mobile with their huge quantity of money at $23. Who else is left? Just good old brown, who's got the jump on St. Louis. How are they going to get there? I don't know yet. Let's see. And as we continue to push forward, green made it to Birmingham. They're done. Blue, of course, we know is already done. Yellow couldn't really compete here. They weren't going to be able to make it to New Orleans with brown in the way. So they shot down to Cincinnati, and now they're heading down. And it's really hard to see their color. It's this kind of yellowish line. This is why you don't want to use yellow on top of it. It doesn't erase well. Heading down to Nashville, and this is just from the Mayfair crayons as opposed to the markers here. The marker here actually works pretty well, but I didn't want to use markers and crayon. I thought that would be kind of a bad choice somehow. Black already done and in position. Red has shot down into Tampa, into Miami. See if they have cash for this. They're going to make $4 more when they hit Miami, so they're going to have like $20. They're able to hook everything up, and red's in a really dominating position. They're going to be the one everyone's going to try to beat with their powerful southern lines. Now, if things come out badly for the rolls, though, for the races, red could not have an easy time working here, and other people could begin hooking those up in ways that work well for them. And finally, well, Brown is heading down to hook up Memphis. They want to get that extra city connection here, just like Yellow's grabbing Nashville here. Now we're at the end of the line for the races, and Red has indeed claimed everything here. Yellow's hooked up down in Jacksonville, if you look carefully. Brown, of course, has shot down to Memphis. Black's got a hook up here, Green down in Birmingham. Everybody's got their shots down to Red, but Red's the guy you can cut deals with. What about money? Green has $3, Blue 1. Yellow has 5, it looks like. Black 6. Red has a big 18, not 20. And Brown has 6. So in a couple of ways, Red's in the lead. Not only they have this huge stockpile of cash, so they're already winning, as it were, because of all the cities they were able to cut. They got a really good positioning victory in terms of the board draws. We're done though. All the track is built. I'm going to load this up, even though I'm not as far along as I like to be usually, because I see this as a good point, and now we'll go to the racing segment and see how that works.